This is the Ridley Noah Fast, belonging to Caleb Ewan. Ewan himself having transferred to the Lotto Soudal squad for the 2019 season, previously having ridden for the Mitchelton Scott team. So for 2019, he's not only got himself a new frame, he's also got himself a new group set. Let's have a look then at what's so special about this bike for a rider that I like to call the Pocket Rocket. So this is the latest model of Noah frame from Ridley. Now this is the aerodynamic road race offering bike. I actually had one of the first models that they produced, and it was a super stiff bike with an integrated seat mast and everything, but well, most bike manufacturers seem to have gone away from that kind of technology. There are a couple of them still floating around out there, but it's interesting to see it's gone away because by having a separate seat post you do tend to have just a little bit more comfort there on the rear end. Now, something else that Ridley trialled and actually ran with for quite a number of years was a fork that had a split in it, and the brakes were housed in there. Now the split in the fork was actually to try and aid wind or air move over the bike in order to keep you going at, well, lower watts, I guess. However, that's been taken away and it's been replaced with something called F-surface technology. Now that has been used on previous models of Ridley bikes. So the purpose of the F-surface technology is that the wind and air is going to move over the frame tubes a lot more efficiently and effectively than otherwise in order for you to keep going faster for longer, if you like. Now it's the same principle or same idea that we find with golf balls and the dimples on it, also what we tend to see on some high-end skin suits and also aeroplane wings too. If we look down here as well on the ends of the forks, you can actually see something that Ridley call F-wings. Now the idea behind this is very similar to what we see on the Pinarello Dogma as well as on the Scott foil. The idea behind it is to actually try and reduce the turbulence that the front hub generates, because at the front of the bike that's where the real mass of the wind is hitting. So sprinters such as Ewan, well, they pretty much obsess over aerodynamics because when it comes to battling away for the sprint victory, they want nothing left unturned. So in the case of Ewan, well, he gets super low, but check out these handlebars too. So it's the Deda Superzero, which do have a slightly aerodynamic profile to them too, in order just to get a little bit more gains. And then the cables are really neatly internally routed. And then the EPS cables for the electronic gearing, that is heat shrinked like nothing I've ever seen before. It's done really well. It's almost like they've gone all the way inside of the bar with it. So I am going to congratulate Stephen the mechanic, who's a really old friend of mine, on a good job there. Good job, Stephen. Now I mentioned in the introduction that Ewan was on a new group set, and well, he's on something pretty special here indeed, because this is a Campagnolo Super Record EPS in 12 speed, something which hasn't actually been released yet. Now many of you may well remember that back at the Vuelta a España in 2018 I did in fact use my eagle eyes and I spotted that Maxime Montfort was actually running a prototype of this group set. And well, it's great to see it here in the flesh, official with the Super Record logos there on the parts concerned. Now, what has actually been added then in that 12-speed cassette? Well, it is in fact a 16-tooth sprocket. So previously it jumped from a 15 to a 17-tooth, whereas now we've got the 16, which is probably going to be pretty well used because it is there down at the the more racing end of the cassette, if you like, but it's certainly going to be valuable, I reckon. Now, something I noticed on this bike, which is ultra cool, and what you can do with electronic group sets is actually customise the shifting patterns of the bike. So what's Caleb Ewan actually done then with his shifting controls? Well, because previously he was using Shimano, I can see his thinking behind this, and he's actually changed it around so that when he's on the drops of the bars, at least I think this is why he's done it, he can change gear slightly easier, because of course with Campagnolo, to change gear into the 11 sprocket for instance, it's the little thumb shifter here on the inside of the hoods. So by using one of the paddle shifters, when you're down there on the drops, it is a lot easier to change gear. So he's customised it so that if he presses the one on the right hand side, it moves into a harder gear, so towards the 11 sprocket. And then if he uses the one on the left-hand shifter, well, he goes up towards the 29-tooth sprocket. But then, with the thumb shifters on the insides of the hoods, he's done the reverse. So the one on the right-hand side moves him into the small chainring, and the one on the left-hand side moves him into the big chainring. I'm going to try and get a few words from Caleb actually and try and find out exactly why he's done that, but well, that's my thinking at least. Wheel selection, well, Ewan, he's been rolling around here at the Tour Down Under on a pair of Campagnolo Bora Ultra 50 wheels. Of course, that can change depending on the terrain that's being raced over. They've got ceramic bearings fitted, and then tyres wise, we've got Vittoria Corsa tubulars in 25mm width. Now, like every professional cyclist out there, Caleb Ewan, he's going to want to know how much power he's kicking out, both during the stage as well as afterwards, in order to actually have a look and analyse what exactly he's been doing. So he's opted for the Campagnolo Chainset with an SRM unit actually mounted onto the spider there. Chainrings 5339, and if we look closely, just tucked away beneath those chainrings or on the inside of them, we can see a K-edge chain catcher with a magnet on the end of it, and that's in order to actually trigger, or rather capture, the cadence of the chain set whilst he's pedalling. Now, attached onto those 170mm cranks are a pair of Look Keo carbon blade pedals with a 20 Newton meter blade in there, so that's the release tension. So he's opted for the highest there is, because of course when you're in the heat of the moment battling out a stage win, you don't want to pull your foot out, do you? No, you don't. Right, let's look at some of the finishing touches on the bike then. Well, firstly, where he perches his behind is on a Selle Italia Team Edition carbon railed saddle. Of course, the carbon rail is just saving a little bit of weight there. And the stem, well, we've talked about the bars already, but they're fitted into a Deda 0100 stem. That's a 140mm in length, so pretty long and with a -20-degree angle. So that is one of the, well, steepest stems we are going to see in the World Tour peloton. We do see a few -17s, but -20, that's pretty much signature actually to Deda. And then fitted beneath that stem, we've got what looks to be a 3D printed headset top cap cover, and it's a really nice looking bit of kit, that. Big fan of things like that, I must say. Handlebar tape, we've got some Lizard Skins DSP tape, which is wrapped kind of about 3/4 of the way, just missing out the top flat part section there. And then we've got some Campagnolo direct mount brakes, so they attach with 2 bolts rather than 1, which is kind of what you find on a traditional style setup. A pair of Tax carbon fibre bottle cages. Of course, fitted onto those Deda bars, we've got the SRM PC8 power unit, which is in a, well, pretty good matching red colour. And then also, I must just say that the seat post too is unique to the Ridley Noah Fast, and it also has that F-Surface technology grooves in there to smooth out the airflow. And then on the rear of the seat post, you can just about see Caleb Ewan's race number from the Australian National Road Race Championships that was just a few days ago, and that's neatly double-sided taped on the back of the seat post there. No messy super glue or anything like that. From the tip of the saddle to the centre of the bottom bracket, 64.5 centimetres. And the measurements from the tip of the saddle to the centre of the handlebars is 52.2 centimetres. And the drop from the saddle to the handlebars is 6.5 centimetres. And the weight is 7.27 kilos. Okay, I know how much you love a free hub sound check. Let's have a listen. So there we are, the bike of 2019, new recruit for Lotto Soudal, Caleb Ewan. Let me know though what you think of it down there in the comments section. Personally, it gets a super nice from me. It's got gunwall tyres after all. Now, remember to like and share this video with your friends. Give it a big old thumbs up. And also don't forget to check out the GCN shop at shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com, where we've got a whole heap of goodies for you to check out. And now, for another great video, how about clicking just down here?